Alright guys, welcome back to an episode of the Patreon Sim Dynasty. We are in week 1 of season 2, and we have Western Kentucky this week. Let's see who everybody else plays this week. Wyoming and ECU in the user matchup. Army and UMass. UConn, Virginia Tech. Charlotte and FCS Southeast. ECU, Wyoming, and then Rice, SMU. Taking a look at the preseason poll to see where everybody's ranked at the start of the season. Oklahoma, Texas, 1-2 in the Big 12. Look at that, Big 12 represent. That's what I'm talking about. And then they're not shown again until number 17, because that's about it. They're like back to back, and that's the only thing that they are. As far as users, Rice comes in first at 56, myself at 78, Army at 82, ECU at 88, Wyoming at 91, Connecticut at 105, Charlotte at 109. Then taking a peek at the conference outlook, we are projected to win the East, but overall we're projected to be 4th, somehow behind 2 other teams on the West side. But whatever, so apparently it's going to be between one of these 3 teams and myself. Mountain West, Boise State's poised to win it. Wyoming is going to give them a run for the money on the other side. San Diego State, with Wyoming coming in at number 9 in conference. In the American, ECU at 4 and Connecticut at 5, with Houston taking the west side, so ECU and Connecticut coming in at 8 and 9. Conference USA, Marshall's projected to win it with Charlotte in 6th. The other side, Rice is projected to win it, with Marshall supposedly taking the cake. It's going to be between Marshall, Mid-Tennessee State, Rice taking it, and Charlotte coming in at number 11. And Independence, Army going to be alright this year. They knocked us off in our bowl game last season, so I expect great things from them this year. And taking a look at the Heisman Watch, just the preseason who's projected to win it. You got J.T. Barrett, Jalen Hurd, Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, and Josh Rosen. Now, as far as preseason All-Americans go, nobody is all NCAA. So we're just going to go per division. ECU's tied in, representing. And then we have ECU's right outside linebacker showing up. It's corner and free safety. Second team, ECU wide receiver. And then Connecticut strong safety. Conference USA, this is where Rice is for sure. Rice with the center and left end making a case. And then second team wide receiver and right tackle. Left outside linebacker, strong safety, and punter. Independence, I expect to see a lot of Army. Got a halfback and wide receiver, left end, and then free safety. Second team, we got Bradshaw, quarterback. You got a center, right tackle, defensive tackle, left outside linebacker, punter, and returner. In the MAC, we have a receiver, Redding. He's going to be a senior this year. Defensive tackle, left outside linebacker, free safety, and strong safety. Second team, we have another receiver. Our quarterback's not up there. And our quarterback was first. I was like, our quarterback's not up there, but our receivers are. Come on now. And then our punter. Mountain West, checking the first team. Wyoming's got a left end and a corner, and then a strong safety on the first team. Second team, right outside linebacker. So just to take a peek at the job security to start this year, everybody is safe as of right now. I know some of these guys need to put up some winning seasons, but overall, pretty good. The records weren't bad, especially since they joined a little late, like 0-4, 3-3. They just didn't join in time to get a full season. So that's probably where their leeway is at. But they should come in and do good things this year now that they got a full season to work with. I'm not going to show recruiting this part because after this week I'll probably cut all the people on my board or at least the majority of them, because that's just how it works. I usually go from like 35 down to 12. If they don't want to come play for me, they're not interested in my school, or I'm just losing too many points. So we'll see how that goes. But we have Western Kentucky this week. Should be a heck of a game. Kirk's picking us to win it. We have no idea their style of offense. Nothing. We're just about an even overall team. So hopefully we can come out and put up some good points. I went ahead and changed my coach philosophy to be defensively 50%, because we don't know how we need to handle that, but we're still going to be a pass-heavy team because it works out good for us in the one-back formation. So we're ready to advance it into the next week. We'll be right back. All right, let's get done with the advance, and we ended up winning 31-7. Dominating performance. They shut us out the first quarter, and then we shut them out the rest of the game. Checking out the team stats, we had a pretty good game. 395 yards of offense, 27 rushes for 79 yards. That's fine. We're a pass-heavy team. They ran the ball pretty good, but we were 18 for 35 with 3 touchdowns, going 316 yards through the air. 5 for 14 on third down. It's not great, but 100% in the red zone. Balances out the 2 turnovers, which were both interceptions. So young quarterback, a little bit inaccurate, or at least accurate to the other team too much. Hopefully he doesn't do that this week. in our ranked matchup. SMU and Rice. SMU pulls out the win. It's a rivalry game, so they came out to play. Rice tried to make it close, tried to make it respectable in the fourth, just not quite enough time to make it happen. Looking at the stats, Rice had the better game, it looks like. 21 first downs, 512 total offense, 45 rushes for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 15 for 22 for 237 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, they were fairly even, just for some reason Rice just didn't win. It might be the not being able to score every time in the red zone. Going 2 for 4 is not good, especially when they go 5 for 5 with 4 turnovers. That's probably gonna make you lose right there. 2 fumbles and 2 picks, and you only scoring half the time you're in the red zone is not good. Army ends up destroying UMass. UMass kicked a field goal in the first quarter, and then it was all Army the rest of the game. Taking a look at the stats, yeah, UMass only had 9 first downs. Army had 26, 471 yards total offense, 61 rushes for 374 yards, 5 touchdowns. Threw the ball decent, even though they're not a passing team. And converted on third down, 8 for 13, 100% in the red zone with 0 turnovers. Will definitely improve your odds of getting the win. Charlotte ends up knocking off FCS Southeast in the first game. FCS got a fumble return to start the game, and then they didn't score till right there towards the end of the fourth quarter. As Charlotte did some work. Taking a look at the stats, yeah, 23 first downs, 460 yards of total offense, 46 rushes for 207 yards, 16 for 35 for 253 and 2 touchdowns. So a pretty balanced attack. 7 for 14 on third down, not great, but he held them for 0 and 12. Look at that defense standing strong, and 0 for 1 on fourth down. Holy crap. Charlotte's defense came into play today. FCS kept them out of the end zone, though, forcing 3 field goals inside the red zone, and they forced 3 turnovers. So it was just a good, solid day by the defense to hold them to 0 third down conversions. Wyoming starts the season with a win over ECU, another user, 41-14. It looked like it was going to be a pretty good game, and then all of a sudden Wyoming just opened the floodgates and never looked back. They scored 17 in the second, and then another, 17 the rest of the game, so it was pretty much over. Taking a look at the stats, 13 first downs for ECU, 272 yards total offense, 26 rushes for 89 yards, and 9 passes for 28 for 183 yards. Just not an overall good game. 2 for 11 on third down and 0 for 1 on fourth down. Not great. Whereas Wyoming had 24 first downs, 486 yards total offense, 49 rushes for 267, 19 for 28 throwing for 219 and 3 touchdowns, 7 for 13 on third down. He kept them out of the red zone or out of the end zone a lot, forcing a field goal and then not being able to convert on 2 more of those attempts in the red zone and forcing a couple of turnovers, but looked like it was all Wyoming this entire game. UConn didn't fare too well against Virginia Tech. I scheduled this game. I figured they'd be able to compete a little bit and not like super powerful ACC team in around the same area as UConn. I was wrong. Virginia Tech came out to play. Maybe they're better this year. Golly, McMillan freaking went off, dude. Taking a look at the stats, 16 first downs, 252 yards total offense, 36 rushes for 147, 9 for 23 for 105, didn't throw the ball well, and couldn't convert a third down for nothing, man. Essentially 1 for every 6 is not good, or 2 for 12, 0 for 1 on fourth down, and only getting a field goal, one of the only 2 times in the red zone, and then a fumble. Just couldn't withstand the caliber difference between the 2 teams. So the games around the country for the users, I play number 22 Wisconsin, Wyoming has bye week Army and Buffalo, UConn FCS East, Charlotte and number 14 ranked Stanford, ECU and SMU, and then Rice, Tulsa. Speaking of my game with Wisconsin, they project them to win. Not really much of a surprise there, but yeah, they look pretty balanced. A pass and rush offense going pretty good, so I'm going to leave my 50% as is. If we can come out and play like we did week 1, I don't know who they played, we have a good shot to beat a ranked opponent. So we're hopeful. Alright, we're just going to do with the advance, taking a look at the games from last week. Rice ends up winning in overtime at 35-28, almost blew it to Tulsa, but held on for the win in OT. Checking out the team stats, it looked like a pretty even game. Tulsa, with a lot more first downs, but Rice with the victory. 407 yards of offense, 40 rushes for 210 and 3 touchdowns, 16 for 30, 197 and 2 touchdowns. 6 for 13 and 3 for 3 on fourth down. That was probably the deciding factor in this game, as Tulsa was only 1 for 3. Rice going 7 for 5 in the red zone, missing out on 2 of those opportunities, which probably were the fumbles or the turnovers, but you never know. but ends up holding on, gets the win, and moves on the next week 1-1. We end up losing to Wisconsin 14-17. We scored 8 in the fourth to make it somewhat competable, but never able to bounce back after that. Man, we scored early in the fourth and just not able to score again. And we dropped for the first time this season, this time to a ranked Wisconsin team. 15 first downs, 276 yards of total offense, 28 rushes for 46 yards. We didn't run the ball great, but that's fine because we're a pass team. And we threw the ball decent, 21 for 37, 230 and a touchdown. 8 for 17 on third down, 1 for 4 on fourth down, horrible. 8 for 17 to me is horrible. I'd rather have there 12 for 18. And we scored 2 out of 3 times in the red zone, with 2 of those times being field goals. If those had been touchdowns, we would have won. Guaranteed. But it is what it is. We held them to 2 for 4 in the red zone as well. We didn't turn the ball over. We played pretty good, especially against a high-powered Wisconsin team, but not enough to get the win. Army continues his streak that he ended on last season with another victory, going to overtime. Man, it's 2 overtime games this week, 31-24, scoring a touchdown and keeping Buffalo winless this year. Checking out the team stats, Army with 31 first downs, 370 yards of total offense, 58 rushes for 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 for 18, 73 yards and a touchdown throwing the ball, 8 for 13 on third down, pretty good. 5 for 7 in the red zone, missed out on 2 opportunities and only 1 turnover, so played pretty good, ended up getting the win, and continues his winning streak. ECU and SMU. ECU drops 21-49, giving up a ton of points in the first quarter and never able to recover. I mean, he scored that all game. SMU just went off. SMU's a pretty good team. I think they were ranked last year, and they're going to continue dominating this year, apparently, because they beat Rice already as well. Checking out the team stats, ECU 15 first downs, 281 yards of offense, 21 rushes for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns, 22 for 45, 223 and a touchdown. I mean, they had 416 yards of throwing the ball on 16 receptions, dude. Golly, SMU went off. ECU 3 for 14 on third down, not great. That's not good. 2 for 3 in the red zone with 3 turnovers. Couldn't capitalize on the 4 turnovers by turning it over 3 times themselves, and just were never really in this game. Charlotte with a rough game this week. Stanford, he held his own till the fourth quarter. It was what, 21-17, and then Stanford just scored bam bam and took out Charlotte. Man, it was a close game. Charlotte held their own. Taking a look at the stats, 22 first downs, 334 yards of offense, 44 rushes for 161 yards and a touchdown, 16 for 32 for 173 and a touchdown, exactly 50%. 9 for 16 on third down, great third down percentage. Fourth down, 0 for 1, risked it one time, didn't work in his favor. 100% in the red zone, even though Stanford was as well with touchdowns. And that was it, man. Just couldn't keep him out of the end zone when he needed to down inside the red zone. And last but not least this week, UConn gets the win 21-7. Just slow game. Not really dominating by any means till the fourth quarter. Taking a look at the stats, UConn 26 first downs, 476 yards of offense, 55 rushes for 259 yards and a touchdown, 18 for 37, 217 and a touchdown, 12 for 20 on third downs, pretty good. 1 for 5 on fourth down, it's horrible. Went for it 5 times. Zeesh, man. 2 for 4 in the red zone, not bad, but he held them down to 0-2 in the red zone. So defense staying as strong as they needed to and held on for the win. So looking at the matchups this week, I have Illinois, Wyoming, and FCS Northwest, who gave them a run for their money last year and beat me last year. Interested to see how that game turns out. Army and Rutgers, UConn, Pitt. Charlotte's got a bye week, ECU and Navy, and Rice has a bye week. So looking at our matchup, Kirk's picking Illinois. No surprise there. I mean, that's back-to-back Big Ten teams. I don't know why I did that to myself, but hopefully it'll work out in our favor. They're not bad, man. They have a better offense than we do, and that's through 2 games. Granted, we did have a rough game last week. They've only played 1 game, so we definitely need to figure something out. Total defense, they're giving up a lot of passing yards, which is perfect because we like to throw the ball, whereas they like to throw the ball as well. So we might alter our stats a little bit to focus a little bit more on the pass, and hopefully we can shut them down, even though I do have a corner, my best corner, who's out for 2 weeks. Alright, we are in week 4 now. Looking at the stats from the game, Rutgers and Army. Rutgers pulled out the win in the fourth quarter, getting 14 points to shock Army in their first loss of the season. Holy crap. How much time was left? A minute left in the game. Team stats, Army should have won this game. They just didn't. Obviously, 463 yards total offense, 47 rushes for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 for 17, 184 yards through the air. 3 for 8 on third down, not good enough. As well as 5 for 6 in the red zone, not good enough. Too many field goals and not scoring that one time cost Army this game. ECU gets their first win of the season, beating Navy by scoring 14 in the fourth. Man, what's up with everybody scoring all their points in the fourth quarter? ECU should have lost this game, but somehow pulled out the win. Just converted when they needed to. 12 first downs, 322 yards total offense, 24 rushes for 81 yards and a touchdown. Army ran the ball 70 times for almost 400 yards. Holy crap. 12 for 18 for 241 and 3 touchdowns. ECU with 4 for 8 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, and 100% in the red zone. That's why they won this game. Army was 4 for 7, missed out on 3 opportunities. And even with the turnover, ECU still got the win. Wyoming ends up beating FCS Northwest. They must not be as good as they were last year. This one wasn't really much of a game at all. Wyoming was up 42-0 right after the half. They were up 28-10 at the half. It was just a dominating performance. Taking a look at the stats, 19 first downs, 406 yards total offense, 38 rushes for 211 yards and 3 touchdowns. 12 for 23 for 195 and 3 touchdowns, 5 for 9 on third down, pretty good. And 100% in the red zone. Helped alleviate the turnover issue, but defense stood strong on third down and fourth down to get the ball back in the offense's hands. We ended up beating Illinois 42-10. This game was over at half. Wow. 28-3. Where's this at last week, fellas? Come on now. Morgan had a pretty good game. And then Cunningham came in. I guess they decided the game was over, so put in the backups and let them play. Checking out the stats, we had 20 first downs, 423 yards of total offense, 24 rushes for 53 yards. Not very good running the ball, but we threw the ball pretty daggum good. 25 for 42. 370 yards and 6 touchdowns. 5 for 12 on third down, 2 for 3 on fourth down, and 100% in the red zone. Defense stood strong for some fumbles and keeping them from getting touchdowns. And we came out and got a win. UConn continues to shock the world with another win, 24-6, this time over ACC power opponent Pitt. 19 first downs, 441 yards of total offense, 37 rushes for 159 yards, 19 for 29 for 282 and 3 touchdowns. 8 for 14 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, and 2 for 3 in the red zone. Even though they had the 2 turnovers, they still did enough thanks to the defense to get the win. Defense holding them to only 2 field goals in the red zone. Taking a look at the championship contenders, UCLA is 1, Clemson, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Florida, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, Stanford, and then Iowa. That's your top 10 for the users. I come in at 62, Rice at 68, Wyoming at 75. Army at 87, Connecticut at 89, ECU at 100, Charlotte at 101. Taking a look at the Heisman Watch, Tennessee, Texas, Ole Miss, Virginia Tech, and Penn State. Taking a look at the injury report, Army has nobody injured. Our corner is out for 1 more week. Luckily, we have a bye week this week, and so that'll help him get healed up and get better. Charlotte, Montgomery out for 1 more week. UConn, left tackle out for 2 more weeks. ECU, his right outside linebacker has been out for a good while. Hopefully he'll get him back here before long. Rice with no injuries, and then Wyoming with his left tackle out for another 3 weeks. For the games this week, I have a bye week. Wyoming and Charlotte in the user matchup. Army's got a bye week. UConn's got a bye week. Charlotte, Wyoming. ECU at number 14 ranked Houston. And then Rice, Texas State. Alright, taking a look at the recruiting board. I'm about to get this strong safety slaughter. I've actually got 2 recruits already. But to be one up, UConn's got 4. He put us a little video or a little image in the chat showing what we got. I'm about to get the strong safety, and the corner is coming along pretty good. Kicker, punter, doing all right. I'm in a little bit of a battle for this athlete, but it looks like I'm gonna be able to sneak out with him, unless all of a sudden Florida State realizes who he is. Same thing with this athlete, but it could be very easily overtaken by UConn or Ohio State. Now, this is the athlete that everybody wants. This guy's going to be really good all around. And then I found a couple other players that I'm trying to get on their board if I can. And apparently everybody else found them the same week, but it's all good. We're all doing the same thing, man. I'm trying to recruit the same board, so it works out pretty good. I got my center, nothing super special, just some way to fill a slot. Same thing with the fullback for sure, just because they're super hard to get. But I'll take a 66. It's better than the 40 overall or whatever the crap they give you if you don't scout one, if you don't recruit one. But that's another week in the books, another episode in the books. I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. That's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see y'all next time.